Hello Groveland Township. Today's video is being done on September the 7th, 2016, and I'm here today with representatives from the Oakland County Parks Department, Melissa Prowse and Dan Stencil. And we want to give you a little bit of information and some good news because a number of you have come into the office and asked what's the status of the proposed ORV Park. And we're standing here just off of Dixie Highway in front of what is one of the pits that will be the park. And I'm happy to say that both property owners have got revised offers from the Department of Natural Resources, accepted them, and sent them back to Lansing. It'll be a little while till the paperwork actually gets formalized up in Lansing, but the park is going to go through, and we wanted to let you know as soon as possible. And now to give you a little bit of information about the park and kind of what we're going to be doing, I'd like to turn it over to the Oakland County Parks representatives and let them talk a little bit about this concept, and then we'll go back and film some information on some commonly asked questions. Dan?
So this whole project is a collaboration between the Township of Groveland as well as Holly and the Michigan Department of Recreation and its Natural Resources, I'm sorry. This is an opportunity to create the 104th state park, an operation that will have the county parks leasing on a long-term basis about 400 acres at its maximum development. Currently we're looking at about 252 acres to be the initial park footprint, with a expected opening sometime in 2018. So there's still a number of processes, and one is to negotiate a long-term lease with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. So
did you want to comment on anything?
Yeah.
Are there any points you want to make sure we hit while we're out here?
Well, I think one of the good things, and I know one of the reasons that the township itself was so receptive to the idea is because early on, when we started talking to not just the DNR but to the Oakland County Parks folks here, we feel that there's a very good positive relationship between Oakland County Parks and our township. I mean, they manage the Groveland Oaks facility and people are really happy with that.
362 acres, and we've been doing it for over 50 years, and what a great relationship.
Almost as long as I've been around, longer than dirt.
And here we are standing
on dirt. So what we thought is, you know, we feel comfortable with Oakland County that you folks do a much better job of managing the facilities. And in addition to that, I think you're good stewards of it because we've always had good rapport with you folks about if an issue comes up, how do we address it to take care of any citizen concerns. And that's a key issue for us going forward. So we were very much for this project, based on the assumption that the Oakland County Parks would get involved in it. And over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of issues to work on, but we've gotten them all resolved.
Well, and I think the fact that we went through a testing where we actually did some trial events.
The
Gully Run, the Dixie Gully Run, and we tested sound, we tested dust, you know, to make sure that this was a suitable site and that we were going to be a good neighbor to the residents of Groveland Township.
And in fact, not only was the Gully Run, which was actually done on township property for the events test, but we also had some significant sound testing done back here on this property where a lot of the activities would be, and on the adjacent piece of property. For those of you who don't know, this pit and the pit behind Mount Holly that's in Holly Township have been 3 of the last 4 attempts to try and get a landfill operation here in our area that we've fought very vigorously. So it's been one of our goals for a number of years to find a good use for this property and be able to get that obstacle of a constant effort at trying to put a landfill out of the discussion. And this park is going to put an end to that for good because it'll become state of Michigan property owned.
Right, and you know, it's been a project that the DNR has identified for over 40 years to locate a off-road vehicle facility in southeast Michigan, closer to the residents and within parameters of being right next to an expressway, so it's easy to get to.
Yep.
And hopefully people will spend more time locally than getting on the road and traveling north.
Yeah, we feel in general that at Groveland, most of our residents moved out here because they don't want to be near the shopping malls and that type of thing. They know they're driving farther to go to work. They want the rural environment. They want the recreational activities because we have 8,000 acres of state land in our township. We're the largest holding community for state land in all of Oakland County. And this we feel fits in well with it, because typically house values and so forth tend to appreciate more in communities that have good, viable, family-oriented recreational activities. And this is just part of it. So when we go back to the office, we'll answer some of the questions that I think they might have and give them a better idea of what the whole concept eventually will develop. So if you can bear with us in a moment, we'll be back at the township and we'll do some Q&A where it's potentially a little bit quieter and before the rain comes here today.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Okay, Groveland, this is the continuation of the video on the ORV Park and some of the concepts we want to discuss today going forward. So first I thought I'd let Dan talk a little bit about the park complex and how we kind of got to where we are.
Well, this is a vision of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for over 40 years to locate an off-road vehicle facility close to the population of southeast Michigan, and finding the right location and having a partner like Groveland Township and Holly Township to support recreation and the opportunities that could come with this facility is just great, because we have a super location right off I-75, little or no neighbors that we need to satisfy, and we've done a lot of testing and so on to make sure that we can be a great neighbor.
And ultimately going forward, one of the things we talked about from the beginning is I was really looking for our area to have not just an ORV park, but actually an outdoor adventure recreation kind of a theme and complex that could be expanded on. So maybe you could tell a little bit about some of the ideas we're going to be looking at going forward in the future to kind of round out the whole experience.
Well, it would be great to have some sort of water feature. And one of the needs in, again, southern Michigan is the fact that there's no place for people to receive certification for scuba diving. Mm-hmm. And so having a water body that's 30 plus feet deep would be very desirable. And then also the idea of cable wakeboarding or of water skiing is something else that could be part of an adventure complex that you're typically not going to find in recreation in this area. Mm-hmm.
And then beyond expanding those, we're kind of fortunate because the Oakland County Planning Department at the same time has been working with our township, and in fact one of our trustees, Dale Kaysen, is on that committee, and we're looking at trying to find ways to expand a concept they refer to as the Dixie Byway. And maybe Melissa, you could tell us a little bit how that concept is being viewed and what we're studying right now with them.
Yeah, so, and we're really excited that Oakland County Planning and Economic Development has sort of taken their Main Street program and expanded it to include the sort of looking at some of the historic corridors within Oakland County, which have such significance to the county and to southeastern Michigan. So what this is essentially going to do is sort of apply that downtown Main Street program to the Dixie Byway and look at ways that we can, sustainably develop that corridor while, maintaining the quality of life that we know has attracted residents to live here, since the beginning. So sort of keeping that in mind, but also helping the township develop in a way that benefits everybody.
I know it's kind of been referred to really as our county's version of Route 66, to give you a better idea of kind of what we're looking at. And we think the timing on this is really perfect because our master plan is due to be reviewed next year, and part of that process is to have various public meetings where we ask our residents to come in, give us their inputs on what they'd like to see stay the same in the township, where they might like to see some changes. And we think this evaluation that's being done by the economic planning people for the Dixie Byway concept, along with this park complex, allows us to get some real substantive meat into the discussion on what we might be able to do and where would be the best places to do it.
Economic development, tourism, because Dixie Highway, really goes from the Straits of Mackinac all the way down to Miami. So this idea of celebrating this 13 miles from exit 93 up to 106 is really special for this area in the terms of tourism as well as economics.
For most of us, I think, that live out here, most people have moved out here because they like the rural environment, all the state recreational land and so forth out here. In doing a master plan, typically what happens is the residential qualities of the bulk of the township are not likely, I think, to see much change. It's really the two main corridors of M15, which is much smaller in our township, and then the Dixie Highway that need to have some look-see, if you will, to see what might be the best way to control and manage the development to what the community would like to see. So we'll be looking for input not only from the county planning department and the parks department, but we'll be rolling that kind of information out. And I know one of the things we're going to do as the park gets closer is have some public awareness meetings so that citizens can come forward and ask questions about what might be the fee structure on the park, what kind of things would be happening there, and what might they see going forward into the future development. And we think it'll be a great chance for our residents to have input into this, and also for us to have the benefit of the county's planning department and parks department to help us do a, for lack of a better phrase, a much more robust analysis of the area and what might be possible for us to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So are there any other things you wanted to say before we wrap the video up for today?
Well, it's a project that's been in the works for several years. And
45, I think.
and it's continuing. And so I guess to encourage your residents to be patient, and we're looking at hopefully sometime in 2018 to open the doors.
First event. So in between then and now, you'll be seeing information from the township, as I said, about our master plan process, which we'll start to review in 2017. And when we have the meeting scheduled for the park discussions after all of the final documents and so forth have been signed, the county will be doing some public awareness sessions, and you can look for us to let you know either through this cable channel, through the electronic sign at the front of the township, or through the local citizen newspaper, so that you'll be aware of when these opportunities come up and have ample opportunity to have input into them. So until the next opportunity, Groveland, have a great day, and thank you for watching the channel. Take care.